All right, so this is a deck I've been meaning to get around to because I think it's super reasonable in the format in terms of how competitive it is. I wanted to try and get some monocolored decks up on the website, not because they're budget, because there aren't really budget decks in this format. You look at the mana base, and while we have a bunch of basic lands here, you look at the spells. I think this deck is actually all rares and mythics, except for Heartless Act at the base. So I think this deck is just like genuinely competitive. You've got good disruptive elements in Thoughtseize and Inquisition. And honestly, one of the biggest things that separates this deck out from a lot of others is you have 12 pretty decent one-drops. There aren't a ton of great one-mana plays in this format, and this deck having such a glut of good one-mana plays, I think, sets it apart. At the top end of the curve, we've got things like Spawn of Mayhem and Rankle here to fly over to push extra damage, what our cheap one-drops can get started with. And then this deck also, in addition to having an aggressive slant, gets to use its mana really well as the game goes along. So you have Skyclave Shade here, which you can recast from the graveyard as the game goes along to generate value. And then we have 4 copies of Faceless Haven to beat down with, as well as 2 copies of Castle Locthwain to get extra utility out of our mana base. So the big upside to playing a deck like this, I think, is the consistency in the mana base. Generally speaking, you're going to be able to cast your spells every game that you play. So let's go ahead and dive on into some matches with this and see how some mono black aggro feels this morning. Yeah, like we only have 18 lands that are only lands, right? Morning, Golgari. I think it's 8 vampires and it is basically vampire aggro, something like that. Ballistic Whiskey, thanks for the 7 months, I appreciate that. Welcome back. This is fine. Double Faceless Haven is awkward in some of our draws, but the fact that we're going to go like discard spell into 2-drop, I think makes this hand fine. And remember, Faceless Haven is a snow land, so Faceless Haven can activate other copies of Faceless Haven that you have. Let's leave down Inquisition here. We just take their card that plays to the board here and get in. Nice. Okay, so with the swamp drawn, do I want to double spell this turn or just shade? I think I want to just shade. It's a little bit worse if this card they drew is Memory Lapse, but otherwise I like playing this here. Is this a Reddit copy pasta? That's some pretty intense posting there. Oh, I played my land out already. They're gonna cycle the Shark Typhoon and punish me. That's a bit of a punt. Sequencing, chat. Sequencing. That's fine. I could do this. I can honestly go either way here. Like, a lot of my threats are recursive at this point. It's probably just Day of Judgment. It could be the Narset, though, yeah. I can definitely see an argument for taking the Narset. I don't know, I get, like, the Narset draws 1 card, because, like, I'm gonna get to fire up Faceless Haven next turn, right?
Prowess.
I'm just gonna Rankle here. since they didn't show us a sweeper.
I shall miss your company.
Well, you know. I can fire this up, smack them for 4, and then place Shade here. Well, I don't want to kick it with the Lightning Helix face up. That's not a good use of tempo. I think especially with 2 Havens here, I'm okay running the first Haven into a Helix here. I'm going to play this land out because I have another, and I want to work towards Dread Wanderer being able to come back into play. It is worth noting that my missequencing of my lands on turn 3 definitely cost us in terms of what I'm able to have on the battlefield here. If this would have died to the Wrath of God, I would have had Dread Wanderer in play now as well. Technically, I have a Shark Typhoon for 5 here. Do I play around Shark Typhoon? They've already cycled one of them, right? I could play a swamp to play around Shark Typhoon. So the problem with playing the land out is if I play the land out, then they activate Castle, I then can't recast the Skyclave Shade. So, like, the castle's the onboard thing, so I think I'm supposed to play around that. The problem is I'm kind of just conceding to Shark Typhoon. Alright, sweet. Not Shark Typhoon. Give a Helix, too? Man, that's brutal. Man, I think... I was watching this play Jeskai last night, and I think there's a good chance this is still very competitive in a post-pact world. Could honestly be the best deck. Yeah, I mean, like, well, Eldraine isn't the reason that the opponent's archetype is good. It's helpful, but it's not the reason. The opponent's archetype is busted because of Shark Typhoon. That's the card that, like, really puts the control deck over the top. Although, Lightning Helix definitely didn't hurt. Like, they're back up to 20 this game, right? Like, they've catched 3 Lightning Helixes, and everything we were able to pressure just didn't matter. They get to play a companion for free too. Yeah, honestly, Ikoria is more to blame for this deck than Eldraine is. The free companion and
If you show remorse, I'll show restraint. You need to take a time.
Yeah, honestly, this is a good draw. Shark Typhoon is a good example of the cascading problems Fire Design has had for like the last couple of years, right? Like we printed Teferi. It's like the woman that ate the mouse, right, or whatever that old story is. We made Teferi to answer. We made Teferi to answer Wilderness Reclamation, and then we made Shark Typhoon to answer Teferi. I was genuinely expecting 4th Helix, right? Alright. Not out of it yet, Chip. The fact that they had to spend answers on our lands went a long way here. Remember, we only have 6 lands in play, but we've drawn 8 lands this game because they killed 2 Faceless Havens. There's the 4th Helix. The Helix is your fault, Billy. Just so you're aware. I want chat to know who to blame. And before 50 legs, these deck lists don't usually play Torrential Gearhook anymore.
I'm not going to sit and hold that thought.
I think we're dead at this point. Oh, maybe not. I guess it depends on what these draws are. They don't have another Helix. They have like a Baffling End. Because before, if they wouldn't have cast that Brainstorm, they could have, if they wouldn't have cast that Brainstorm, they could have activated Castle to keep their Teferi alive here. That's a pretty big mistake on the opponent's part.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
I don't think I can afford to play around a sweeper, really. And, like, even if they do sweep here, if I draw a land, I, like, bring back 2 Shades and Dread Wanderers, so I think we just jam and try and kill them. I saw an article come across my timeline, but I didn't click into it. Gimdy. Flampler and Cato Guac. I think I missed those. Thanks for the resubs. Welcome back, folks. Good morning, good morning. The Oracle ban felt noticeable on the ladder. No, not really. I didn't have the sweeper last turn. I'm gonna hold on to this one. This is gonna be like my post-sweeper extra play, but like, these all come back, right? What's going on, Zavilla? Just keep swinging, swinging, swinging. Just keep swinging. Doot, doot, doot. There you go. Yeah, the Eldraine card is very good. Also worth noting, like, this game feels like it shows kind of the impressive power of our archetype to me, because, like, my opponent cast 4 Lightning Helixes this game, and they're currently at 8. I think the pack deck is likely still very reasonable. They've only cast 1 Wrath of God, though, right? Yeah, they've only cast one copy of Wrath of God
Open
so
mind.
far. You're not supposed to play Murderous Rider this game. Main deck, rest in peace. Okay, so I'm gonna send Skyclave Shade here, and I'm gonna send these here, because if they want to save Narset, they die to Ebon Legion killing their face. And then, with Rest in Peace in hand, we might as well cast this from the bin, right? Hey, do you have Wrath of God? If they have Wrath of God here, we're gonna lose. This last card is Wrath, we're dead. They have another draw 3? Or draw 2, look at 3, just a cycle, sure. An untapped overlay for Twitch. I have not. Is that a cardboard live-like thing? I know they do an overlay for you on your personal side, but I was not aware that they branched out into the Twitch side. I mean, Cardboard Live is, like, pretty aggressively mediocre. I'll put that on my list of things to check out. Alright, so Duress and Go come in this matchup. Heartless Act comes out. What else do we want to trim here? I mean, to be fair, their board wipes need to be paired with Rest in Peace to really hammer us home. It's probably Spawn of Mayhem out. I think I want to keep all my cheap cards. And, like, this is a 4-drop without haste if they're interacting with our board a bunch. The Cardboard Live deck exports frequently do not export into Arena properly. Their application doesn't seem to be well maintained. It's just literally been the only option. I wasn't aware that there was another choice. So, I will definitely be checking out Untapped this weekend to see if we want to set that up for next week. I'm not gonna futz with it now live on stream, but sounds worthwhile. Alright, I think I want a double spell here. They could have Memory Lapse on the play. It's always worked for you personally. You've gotten very lucky. Anytime there's random split cards or double face cards, it frequently has issues. Huh? I think it's just Shark Typhoon here. Like, answers one of our things and also draws a card. Narset's 3 mana and only draws 1 card, though. It's fine. Like, not a big deal. Morning Vengeance. Alright, and like the expressive here probably means we have a window to attack with Faceless Haven next turn, which seems great. Yes, I guess I could theoretically have Helix here, but like I also have 2 Faceless Havens, so that seems fine. Alright, so we're done here. Card having Vigilance is so good.
Sorry, I'm late.
Cast every hero of Dominaria concede. You love to see it, chat. That was awesome. Like, that really showed the range that this deck has in a matchup like this, right? Like, game 1, they cast 4 Lightning Helixes, and the game lasted till turn 30, and we won. And this game, they just, like, conceded on turn 5. Like, really, really fantastic showing to start. I think this is... I'm definitely going to be adding this deck up to the website. A few different people have posted results with this, and different things that had success on the ladder, and I think from a pure game theory standpoint, this deck is doing very reasonable things. Yeah, and I made a sequencing mistake in the first game that made it more difficult than it needed to be as well, because of my lands. It is definitely accurate. No companion. I think no companion means we bottom the Rankle, keep the Heartless Act. Pillar of Flame. What? That's cheating. Aladay, thanks for the 25 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. My boy was supposed to come back, chat. It was supposed to be a pretty kitty and come back to me. So look at the way they massacred my boy, chat. He was too pure for this world. We just take the lightning axe, right? It murders my spawn. The opt keeps them from casting Stormwing, but they have so many redraws to let them cast that anyways. I'm pretty sure it's just supposed to be Lightning Axe. Mathematically speaking, we don't have the mana to cast Obliterator consistently. Casting Regisaur is much easier. Regisaur is also very good in the Girl matchup. Regisaur and cheap removal are our Girl plan. Our 4/4 is kinda bigger than their 3/3. It doesn't stay that way. There aren't really token creature decks in the format, Conscript. Well, that means we can pay 1 to draw 1 card, which is not terrible. They hit us with Stormwing. Spawn's gonna get to grow up bigger next turn. Happy Friday, Houdini. Transmogrify Elishnorn. Ha! You know what? The combo tokens deck probably wants to play Elishnorn with Transmogrify instead of Craterhoof Behemoth, huh? It's obviously a little bit less explosive, but it lets you be interactive in the creature matchups, and it's a bomb you can actually cast. That's probably yes. And 15 are a wild card short of the Terror Walker deck. You should, generally speaking, always just open packs that have the most cards in it that you actually need for the deck. Yep, HA5 releases on the 27th, and the next open is scheduled for May 30th. Yeah, we're done at this point. Alright, so they are a young Pyromancer. A young Pyromancer deck, which I think would imply, usually Dr. Peasy means they're not on Phoenix. I think Rotting Regisaur is actually pretty good here. Just a big, thick monster that their red removal has a hard time dealing with. Spawn gets pretty outclassed in the air, like we saw that game. I think we trim our, let's go down on our discard spells here too. Just wanna play to the board in this matchup. Against Pyromancer, Reggie sounds bad. I'm boarding up to 11 removal spells. In general, if their Pyromancer is sticking around, we're probably losing the game regardless, so. Also, like, think about that first game that we just played. How quickly did my hand get emptied? If I'm playing empty-handed anyways, Reggie's not really a downside. So I think if you want to build Atarka's Command, you build mono red splash Atarka's Command, not the current Gruul aggro deck. I think starting with the current Gruul deck would be a mistake. This hand is so awkward. I think it's a keep at 6 though. Bottom the Rankle. That's true. They do both play Burning Emissary. Honestly, Arcanist with the Tarkus Command sounds sweet. You just like play 4 Wizard's Lightning, 4 Arcanist Command, or 4 Tarkus Command. You get plenty going on. Both Atarka and Dromoka's Command are very good with Arcanist. Regisaur also has a small amount of synergy with our friend Gutterbones here. Regisaur. Opponent spending time spinning their tires here. Regisaur gonna punish them for that. Yeah, it's like upkeep pay 2 instead of upkeep discard a card. think we just pass here, huh? I don't really want to discard either of these cards. The extra 2/1's kind of whatever, especially against their Pillar of Flame deck. So the 20 months, Gunther. It's on credit. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. Listen, someone else mentioned Phyrexian Obliterator, you know. This is a good example of like why Regisaur is a little bit easier to cast. Like our deck is mono black, sure, but we technically only have 20 black sources in our mana base. Dummy thick dino, chat. Dummy thick dino. We'll draw it because it's strictly optimal. Triple double quad. Thanks for the 25 months. It's a long time. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. Plays a little abrasive, opponent. Yeah, you get him. You get him. He's dead. Murderer. I mean, they're not dead yet. Hey, Bovine, thank you for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Happy Friday. Faceless Haven is really good. This deck is a good showcasing at how good Faceless Haven can be for sure. See some folks using the command for the new sponsor in chat. Your Playmat is a site that does custom playmats, mouse pads, as well as custom card sleeves. So there's a few different sites out there that do custom mats these days, but custom card sleeves is something they do that's pretty unique. And they're sweet. I've got some jester printed card sleeves here that I've been beaten on. Hey, thanks for the tier 3, Spartan. I appreciate the 27 months. Welcome back. Yeah, they're dead though, right? Like these are their cards. I can just attack with Faceless Haven. Brazen Borrower is a good answer to Rotting Regisaur. Okay, so they are a Phoenix deck. Do I want Go Blank because they're a Phoenix deck? I think so, right? They usually like put Phoenix in the bin the same turn they bring it back. I think I'm happy with how I boarded. I'm just going to go ahead and run it back. Will members of the Hooglandia Premier League receive Jester sleeves for events? Most Ultra Pro sleeves I've touched have been really bad. I'm not a fan of Ultra Pro as a brand. Dragon Shield are fine. These are better than the Dragon Shield matte sleeves. The OG Dragon Shield sleeves I think are reasonable. The Dragon Shield matte sleeves I split constantly when I try to use them. They're easily the highest quality printed sleeve I've ever done. Yeah, the new sponsor Zintoth does custom printed sleeves. You can get your image of your choosing on the back of a card sleeve. I don't understand the hype behind Dragon Shield Mat. I think Dragon Shield Mat sleeves are not a good use of money. BCW is a sponsor of our stream. If you're looking for non-custom sleeves and you haven't checked out the BCW Elites, their card sleeves are easily the best non-custom sleeve on the market, especially for the price. They're cheaper than the Dragon Shield mats, and they're a higher quality. If you haven't used the BCW mat sleeves, they're like $8 for 100, I think. What's in the queue today? The queue's technically empty. After this deck, we're gonna play some mono red frenzy, and then after that, we're going to after we play some mono red, we're gonna do some deck voting. Deck voting reminds me that I could never be a shillionaire because of my passion for voter turnout. I think attacking with this is actually correct, because taking it off the board means it doesn't die to a Pillar of Flame, which is nice. Good luck, Godspeed, Spartan. To be fair, I think that one's pretty reasonable as far as mobile decks for mobile go. Black-white vampires will not be one of the options. It's for 26 months, Kraken, by the way. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm pretty much always up for taking decks that are on my site as donation submissions, D-Price. If I don't think they're reasonable anymore, I take them down from being up there. Alright, so do I just attack with Regisaur? I think I attack with Regisaur, and then I'm gonna kick the Skyclave out of the bin. So, Magic Arena on mobile works exactly like I expected it to in theory. For like 85 to 90, maybe even 95% of board states, Magic on mobile works fine and is reasonable. For the last 5 to 10% of board states that are unwieldy even on my 27-inch monitor, it's not a good user experience on mobile. So credit where credit is due. I think they did a really good job bringing Magic Arena to mobile. I think they did a better job than I expected them to, but it's still not a pleasant experience in a significant portion of the games. I think one in 20 or 1 in 10 games is a pretty high failure rate in terms of like, this is tedious and frustrating to use. If it's like your only option, like, by all means, I'm not gonna knock you for wanting to play Magic. Magic's fun, but like, it is blah in some instances. Yeah, I have their sleeves right here in my hand, and I have a playmat on the chair behind me. I don't usually take sponsors from products that I haven't used, so I don't like advertising things that are bad, chat. makes them harder to advertise. In fact, it was funny. I tweeted this the other day. I had a, yeah, it's just my Jester artwork. I've been beaten. So I got these over a month ago at this point. So I've been like sitting here shuffling them for a couple hours a day for like a month now. And there's a little bit of weaving at the top, which you expect for most sleeves, but I've only actually split one of them in over a month of sitting here beating on them. So like their quality is really good. See if they have an Abrade to finish my dino here. So, the actual art in the center hasn't been frayed or damaged on any of them after a month of beating on them, but there is a little bit of chipping. There is a little bit of chipping down the side on some of them after me beating on them. And for reference, I am not gentle when I shuffle sleeves. I pack them aggressively. Like, people often bring up as a good point of reference that people, to show you how aggressive that I am on sleeves, I can't use Dragon Shield matte sleeves because I split them. Like they're unusable. Like, I pull Dragon Shield mats out of the box and they split on my first couple of packs. The corners break and are unusable. So, like, if a sleeve is usable for me, like, it's usable. It's actually not that hard to split Dragon Shield mats. The original formula Dragon Shields are super reasonable, but Dragon Shield mats pop right in half. The corners break on them. Hey, D Prince, thanks for the tip. Yeah, we can do. Do you want Mardu to be the second deck today or the third? You can let me know. It can be the one after this or the last one. Probably not shuffling 5 hours a day, but probably 1 to 3 hours a day for the last month I've been sitting here shuffling them. They almost found a way to stay alive, chat, but we've got Faceless Haven. My go-to non-printed sleeve are the BCW Elites. They do a really good quality for a good price point. If you're someone, I've heard a lot of people talk about the katanas and these other really premium non-printed sleeves. If you haven't used the BCWs, you should spend $7 or $8 on a pack of them and see if it's worth spending your money on the higher end sleeves. I think a mono red version of Frenzy is potentially really good, MD Knights. I have that in my deck editor. I want to get to it on stream at some point soon. If it's decent, I'm going to throw it up on the site. Morning, James. James, I'm gonna have to file a complaint, James. I turned on your stream last night, and it said you were top 50 on the ladder. And you were very clearly only rank 150 when I opened your stream. So, I feel like you're gonna have to hear from my lawyer for false advertising. The Gandalf. The your playmat quality of playmats is very comparable to Inked Gaming. I have some Inked Gaming products sitting around as well. at the house. Very, very comparable to those. This is the way we put Gandalf in a box, Gandalf in a box, Gandalf in a box. This is the way we put Gandalf in a box early in the morning. Do 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 do. Listen, chat. Little is as satisfying as shuffling up and then stuffing Gandalf in a box, okay? Wait, no, come back, opponent. No, please don't leave. We're gonna bring in our Duresses. We're gonna bring a couple of Go Blanks. Carmen, thanks for the follow. Truppin Sam Lung, thank you for a brand new sub. Welcome to Oaklandia. I appreciate the support. So, there's no split on Shades and Scroungers because almost all of our other creatures, Arctivists, also bring themselves back from the discard pile. So we don't really have extra bodies laying around that we want to be exiling in a lot of situations. I do believe Gandalf is a croakyism. Do people have a lawyer to call there? I mean, wealthy people do. What is this keep, chat? Don't keep hands like this against aggro. This is not a keep. Listen, chat, you didn't have to mulligan. You got to mulligan. Mulliganing is a privilege. You didn't have to keep your bad hand. You got to throw it back and try again. Come on, commit me. Rats. Alright, then have sweeper last turn. Got me. Oh no! Not Grafdigger's Cage, chat. How will we ever win the game now? Also, for reference, Gutterbones gets around Grafdigger's Cage for people not familiar. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just sub 10-minute match against Gandalf? Sign me up, chat. This one's going on the website. You know what? You want to know how confident I was that this deck was going to be great? You want to know how confident I was that this deck was going to be great? I already bought a banner for it. I already told my graphics guy, hey, ship me a banner for this one because it's going to be a banger. I also got one for Green White Ephemerate and Temur Planeswalker. So I'm going to be doing some website editions this weekend. Yeah, my graphics guy does good work. Appreciate him. He's if you ever see Kenny in the subs Discord, he's the one that does my graphics. why not use the banners for your YouTube thumbnails? Because they're not sized for YouTube thumbnails. And I pay my graphics designer $15 to do those banners up for me. So, believe it or not, my YouTube doesn't make, I post how many videos per day? 4 to 5. Doesn't make $60+ per day. So that seems like it would be a poor use of my income. Yeah, that's on my list of things to do, turn 3. HA5 usually drops at 10 a.m. on those days. Man, we're super dead, huh? I messed up there. I should have played the land and attacked with both of these and then traded. Man, Doomblade's really bad here, huh? I'm gonna board in Fatal Push. To be fair, my opponent's draw that game was pretty exceptionally aggressive. We need to blank ourselves to exile our graveyard. This is big brain plays right there. The old 3-mana 1 with nothing. Hey, thanks for the support, Russell. Those prime subs keep me housed. I appreciate it. I should really make a point to pipe up in people's Twitch chats more often. You are frequently my evening background noise, James. You do consistent historic stuff. I just usually have you on the smart TV, so it's inconvenient to type in chat. I have to like open my phone. It's a whole ordeal. And usually my phone is playing a mix of Raid Shadow Legends and Pokemon Go in the evenings when I'm watching things. Sometimes it plays Raid Shadow Legends and Pokemon Go at the same time. Split screen Android app support is baller. Real gamer. My high-end gaming cell phone shit. Alright, are we pumping Ebon Legion or shipping in with Faceless Haven? You could play more Heartless Act. You could play more Heartless Act, or you could play, I would play a 2-mana instant speed piece of removal. So like, more Heartless Act, Noxious Grasp, stuff like that. When's the inaugural Pokemon Go stream? I'm gonna do that at some point. Maybe we'll do that next week before the Historic Anthology drops. But I do play Pogo PvP with some consistency. Their PvP is actually a lot of fun. Pearson, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel today. Cast Down. Cast Down's another good 2-mana piece to removal. And like, honestly, and again, like, all the 2-mana black removal in this format hedges in different directions, right? So like, for example, Cast Down would be better in this matchup than Doomblade is, right? So it's not just a strictly better, strictly worse comparison. Well, Doomblade also misses Corvald. There's like Thalias and Redanes you need to kill on occasion. The last 2 days, I've been gifted subs to channels I hadn't watched in a week. How does that work? I believe it's if you... My understanding is if you... Hold on. Oh, I need to think here. I'm just gonna attack with just this to start. If everybody watching a channel is subbed and someone drops a bunch of sub gifts, it distributes them to other people that have watched the channel in the past. Sorry, to complete my thought. Oh, that's a really good catch. If I would have done this first, it would have lost Death Touch. I wasn't thinking about that at all. Wow, that's gonna cost us the game, huh? Because they're like gonna like Luris and replay something? Woof, that's a really good catch. To block both of these at least. Not just dead, but yeah, I think if Go for the Throat was legal, that would be the de facto best 2-mana removal spell in black for sure. Hey, Seraphita, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this afternoon. This morning, whatever time of day it is, wherever you're at. They can cling this, but then they're not drawing a card with clings, so... Oh, you dropped this sun back. Don't worry, I was holding on to it for you. Pretty good draw. My mistake might come back to bite us here. Yeah, it's another land. And if they trade with my Skyclave Shade here, they have enough cards in their bin to... Oh, interesting. I was gonna say they have enough cards in their bin to cling it if they trade with it. I think they definitely should have traded and then clung it inside of combat. Send help. I'm addicted to the Circus of Value video from yesterday. I definitely requested a banner for that one to put on the site because that deck is gas. So you need to cling this in response to the trigger. The banner does not include the vending machine, though. Okay. If we lose this game, I deserve it for missing the 8th card in my bin. I think we're just passing for now. Well, you know. Duress, 6 to 28 months. Welcome back. Where are my utility lands at, chat? I guess we had 2 Faceless Havens. A Black Castle would have won this game. Why didn't we board out our discard spells? Because the opponent's deck has counter spells and draw 4s in it, and I just don't really have enough cards to meaningfully bring in this matchup, if I'm being honest. You look at our sideboard, and there weren't a ton of cards I really wanted. I actually updated the red-white list on my site last night after watching you play for a little bit, James. I liked your inclusion of, what's it called? Lyra, or Baneslayer Angel. They both seem really good. Yeah, I mean, like, this game, I think making changes based on this game would be a huge mistake. Like, not only did, if I don't miss it's casting a card to like not run into their thing earlier, we win this game very easily. And we still came close to winning this game even with that mistake. We might still win it, right? I'm holding on to this land in case they play a mill card and mill us into another Skyclave Shade. We have 2 more of those in our deck. Yeah, Gideon's not good enough in the mid-range decks without Pact, is correct. It is weird that Gutterbones is over here even though it can't be activated. I agree with that. It's a deviation from what we usually see in Arena. So, yeah, I think we Heartless Act. It means if they have Fatal Push, they can Fatal Push this, but that's fine. We got a damage, so we get to grab the Gutterbones here. Maybe to remind us that we can activate if we deal damage, but it doesn't do that with your other cards. Like, Skyclave Shade, for example, isn't in your grave, doesn't show up over here until you've triggered it for the turn. That was the shade. It's for the card. There's a Dread Wanderer too here. This is why we've been holding lands. Their Cling to Dust has single-handedly kept them in this game. Let's see if they have a removal spell here as well for Dread Wanderer. I feel like they must because they, Alright, do you have an answer for this? And this comes back as well. Go. And again, like, I made a pretty big mistake this game, and the power level of our deck is just, like, dragging us through it. Could you imagine if I had a black castle? There's been no black castles in however many cards we've drawn. Yeah, I think we're gonna get a game 3. It's really impressive. D-Price, are you still here, by the way? If you said it earlier, I didn't see your message in chat. Did you want the Mardu deck to be the next deck today or not? Let me check your message history. Right here, prefer deck. Sweet. It'll be the next deck up. Do I want more threats rather than discard spells? Maybe I do. Honestly, with how good that flippin' Cling to Dust was, do I want to go blank in this matchup? What if I cut the 1-mana discard spells and put in go blank and the Rankles back in? Is that crazy? I mean, if it's our last card in hand, we could technically empty our own graveyard with it, yeah. This deck is responsible for reopening the arena since the first time since September. This deck's really sweet. Like I said, I'd been meaning to get to this one and just hadn't had time. Sure. Drawing 2 copies of Skyclave Shade is low-key super bad. Because we want those in our deck for them to draw us into them for free. Attack before we play our land. I think I'm supposed to pick Gutterbones back up here. Hey, there's another Skyclave Shade for the bin. Opponent has another. This is how our opponent beat us in the first game. I think this is exactly what our opponent has to have to be able to win this. They have to have this super aggressive start here. I had a Cub Scout meeting last night and I had to mow my lawn. So updates to the website did not happen. I have a banner for the Green-White Ephemerate deck though. Actually got a banner for this one in the Teamer Friends deck as well, so there'll be a few different decks being added to the site this weekend. It's the part where they play 3rd Soaring Thought Thief and then kill us. I guess they could have double removal as well. These Skyclave Shades can't block. That'll do pig. Yeah, this matchup, and like this is, I feel like it's really important. This is why your result doesn't matter so much as the details of what happens here. Like, I would be incredibly surprised if we played this matchup a dozen times if the Rogues deck won more than we beat them, because the Rogues deck doesn't have that many threats in it. So, and we have a good amount of removal in our deck too. So like the fact that they had a high threat density draw 2 out of 3 games in games that we simultaneously also had no removal is like definitely the exception more so than the rule, I think. There's also a possibility, we've been talking about these Doomblades in my sideboard, that if you play the Rogues matchup and you conclude you do want more help there, that the Doomblade could be another removal spell that's better against Rogues. Yeah, the green-white Ephemerate deck that we played yesterday that I'm going to add up to the site is definitely a good example of the type of deck that the Oracle archetype pushed out of the format. It's a deck that doesn't interact with spells super profitably, especially the axis that like the Oracle deck was working on. So would generally be terrible there, but it's fine otherwise when matchups are about playing to the board. It's been 11 months, Lord Demdem. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I don't really think it's a fair or reasonable assessment to say that we struggle in the aggro mirror. At least that hasn't been my experience so far. We have good removal, and we have threats like Rotting Regisaur that are very sticky and difficult to interact with. So like, oh, we might be dead here, huh? It's a very, very good series of draws for the opponent. If this bricks, we have a Heartless Act, but okay, sweet. Wonder if my opponent has a miscast. Second Heartless Act's a great draw. Nice. Okay, so I think I'm supposed to cast this. It could be right to play around them having another combo piece here since they made a treasure. Could be right. Just hold up another Heartless Act. I don't know. I need pressure in play. Just like holding up Disruption endlessly if you don't have pressure isn't usually a winning line. Are we light on 3-drops? We're not light on. This is a 3-drop, Draven. This number in the corner is a lie. This is a 3-mana spell. This is only a 4-mana spell for the purposes of like Extinction Event and stuff like that. Yeah, or the not die to 3 CMC removal. Yeah. Might be wrong. I don't know. Again, I just like need to be able to apply pressure here. So they have an Anger of the Gods. The question is, how much do I want to play into it? We did not. They had another nuts draw. He had removal spell, sweeper, triple creature. I should say Plague Wind, not Sweeper. They had Crippling Fear. So I guess we do this, and then they're going to kill it with Anger of the Gods next turn, which is unfortunate. Spawn doesn't play around Anger. If I play Spawn, they get to kill this with Anger of the Gods. So casting nothing lets me hold up the activation on Knight of the Ebon Legion, which is playing around Anger. And then, like, next turn, when this would have been a 3-4, we could have deployed other stuff without needing to hold up the activation. Sure, Spawn doesn't die to Anger is accurate, but it doesn't play around Anger, which is what the statement was. So I'm answering the question that was typed. I'm not assuming a different intent other than what was typed. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I think we're dead here, unfortunately. So, the opponent's combo deck is unique in that Doomblade's actually very good against it. I think we trim Skyclave Shade here because they're on Anger. Just like a 2-mana thing that gets swept away by that in a lot of instances. I don't think I can trim more threats than that. Maybe we trim like an Inquisition. 8 discard spells is probably plenty. The fact that both our discard and removal are good here makes our sideboarding a little bit less clean than it would be against other combo or creature decks where you usually only want one or the other of those things. Doing main deck Relic of Progenitus to Hoots, are you the bad guy? No, I think main deck Relic of Progenitus is something we'll probably see a good bit of. Main deck as a format that has frequently seen main deck Grafdigger's Cages and Rest in Pieces, main deck Relic is less offensive than both of those. Because it draws a card. Main deck Relic is super reasonable. One of the reasons why it's a sweet addition to the format. Man, do they have a second Magma Spray? Man, sometimes they want it more than you, chat. You told me my mono black recursive aggro deck was going to lose to the Anger of the Gods multiple Magma Spray deck. I definitely would have believed you. Golly. Alright, so you're saying there's a chance. Take a chance on me. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. And because I have 4 points of pressure in play, I'm just going to hold up this Murderous Rider so we don't get punked out by their combo. He says before the combo happens, backed up by Miscast. Ogre Pit. Thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Don't have any more removal. Definitely not bluffing it. Let's just go ahead and put Lethal into play. Alright, sweet. Main deck Relic or main deck Cling? I mean, it depends on what your deck's doing, Winmag is. Not every deck has the option to play main deck Cling as well, so. I watched the last gameplay video for Bugsnax yesterday, and holy hell, that game is a fever dream. I was super impressed by the dialogue and voice acting. Yeah, no joke. Like, the IP of Bugsnax does not make you think it's gonna get into the stuff that it gets into, and it's like really good. If you haven't watched it, it's super. I would recommend watching at least like the first hour and the last hour of my playthrough. A really good game with interesting themes. I have not Therabrave. My wife and I have not had the opportunity to sit down and do a co-op game in a while. We have lots of tiny monsters. Alright, so I think I lead discard spell here because they're so likely to have exile removal. Well, rewarded. Man, that's unfortunate. They have Mizzix Mastery and Transmogrify. That's rough. We're just gonna be dead, right? I guess we can draw a removal spell, or like hope that they brick and then we get a redraw, but like... Yeah, Thoughtseize isn't very useful here, huh? We just gotta hope they miss on a time warp and then we draw something live. But 8 removal spells in our deck to kill this dragon. Ain't not dead yet. Hit me, dealer. 8 out of 50. Doesn't Rankle plus land kill the dragon? No, they block as vigilance. We're just like hoping they miss again. Seven is a lot of looks. And now that they hit the first one, Mizzix Masteries are live hits too. Rankle would have allowed me to trade. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Oh, and then Prismari Command finishes this, right? finish it too. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to Rankle there for the defensive Rankle. It's a good observation. I mean, we blocked a trade. Chat! There was literally a face-up deal 2 in their hand. There's literally a face-up instant speed deal 2 in their hand. But Jeff, then they wouldn't have been able to cast Time Walk that turn. Then we wouldn't, then, like, chat, none of the options mattered. The optimal line, the question you should be asking is, Jeff, why didn't you top right? That's the valid question to ask there at the end. It wasn't take a different line that means we're still dead. It was top right. All right. Anywho, I know we got punked a little bit in that last game, but you know, that's going to happen sometimes. I feel like overall, this was an excellent showing for this deck, especially the control matchups really highlighted the range that this deck is capable of playing. You know, we ground out Jeskai control through a game where they cast 4 lightning helixes and the game lasted till turn 30 and we still won on the back of our various recursive threats. We also generated plenty of games where we like ended the game on turn 4 to 5, right? We like played a couple of discard spells, we curved out nicely, and we put pressure on the opponent to run them down. So I think if you're looking for a disruptive, aggressive deck, this deck is a phenomenal choice. I honestly don't know that I'd change anything. The numbers are all pretty trim. Like the things that are flexible in the deck are like exactly which removal spells you're playing. Like, for example, if you're not a Magic the Gathering Arena Kraken like I am and you don't have Doomblades, you don't want to spend rare wild cards on these, play something else, you know, Heartless Act, Cast Down, Blood Chief's Thirst, more Fatal Push, Noxious Grasp. There's a ton of good choices for this slot. I think Doomblade is the best against Gruul, and I want my removal spell here to be good against Gruul, ideally, which is why I mentioned Noxious Grasp. But if you don't have that, the number of games you're going to lose because you play something other than Doomblade are really small. And past that, you know, Doomblade is worse against things like Rogue. So, like, you know, it's basically the black removal in this format is you're hedging your bets. You're choosing which things you want to be better against and which things you want to be worse against. There's no strictly correct option. And honestly, just to go on a mini tangent here for a moment, there's no strictly best option for black removal is one of the reasons why adding cards like Lightning Bolt and Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares and Counterspell, I see people talk about those cards in Historic a lot. All of those cards would be bad additions to this format, in my opinion, because they reduce deck building variety. They give you these objectively best answers that are always great in basically every situation. So there's no choices. There's no thinking about what's important in this format. What threats do I care about? Which threats do I want to give up? It's just, oh, I want white removal, I play Path. I want a red burn spell, I play Bolt. I want a counterspell, we play Counterspell. It's the best one. And those powerful answers reduce deck building variety. Which is why I'm glad Wizards has kept them out of the format so far. Box of the Shoes, thanks for the 20 months of Prime support. I appreciate